And welcome to episode 6 of Space Oddities, where we discuss everything from inner space to outer space. Let me bring on Mr. Ben. Welcome, my trusty co-host. And so we're throwing. We kind of switched things up a little bit, switched the Thursdays out because we kind of had to. We did the veteran special last week, so we're kind of overloaded towards the end of the week, so we decided to just do it the next Thursday. And of course, that doesn't help with people watching, but eventually you'll get used to it, and we'll be in a set day. It'll always be a Thursday at 8 at some point. So maybe we'll even start doing it every Thursday when we can, but for definite every other Thursday, because that seems to be doable for us. So tonight we got government talk, and we've got a couple of videos that we want to discuss that have popped up in the last couple of days. Anything else you want to talk about tonight? Because those are the only two things that really kind of that, and Matthew's paper about catastrophic disclosure, which is one of the new buzzwords rolling around the UAP world.
Yes, and then there's also that great new series, George Knapp's, on Netflix that has some interesting stuff that we could go into.
I haven't caught an episode yet, but it's on the to-do list of many things, man. I'm like, why can't I see anything? And I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm old and blind now, so I have to put glasses on. So let's go over the hearing first thing, though, because I watched the hearing, and my overall take is about the same as everybody else's. It's just basically, for the most part, a big nothing burger. I was happy to see
Gary.
What's that? Okay. Well, let me say the one with Arrow, I didn't even know was happening.
Okay.
I heard some whispers about it, and then I heard how horrible it was, so I didn't bother to watch it yet. I'm guessing you did watch it.
Yeah, you're not missing anything.
Yeah. So I did look at their last publication, and did you see the publication where they had the design of the what they're gonna use to see UFOs? And then,
yeah, I skimmed it. I did not get into it in detail. All right. Gremlin, I think they're calling it.
Yeah, calling it a gremlin. It seems like everybody has to have a catchphrase. We have ours too, so I mean, ain't gonna fault them for that. But I kind of smiled to myself and laughed, because it's like because like the Galileo project has their Gallic. They have it seems like everybody serious in the fields already realized this is what you need to do. So it's like literally they just looked at all the people like UAPX, Galileo project, the UFO DEP, what's the other one? I'm like brain farting on it. Sky 360.
That's 360, and Bob.
Bob. All these different people that are trying to either do good citizen science or serious science, academic science, and just like, okay, well, let's just copy this and make it sound more government-y.
It's also, you get into, when you're using equipment, you start developing like personalizations for it. So I remember when I was in industry, we had some pretty creative names for our test racks and for different sensors and whatnot. Just when you're dealing with stuff every day, it adds a little levity rather than calling it like a Dehua 50232 or something like that. Call it John.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't too it didn't really hit any warm and fuzzies with me, and honestly, even their explanations of like the 2000 they did come out and say they had an explanation for the 2015 events and stuff like that, but like all the definitions from the government, they're lackluster, and they show about as much proof for their stuff as we do for ours. It's like, yeah, you have zero evidence for it, just like we do. So we need the information you have so that we can actually do our work.
Yeah, that was one of the outcomes of the AARO press conference. Was they're claiming a basic debunk explanation of the Go Fast video, potential, which it might very well be prosaic. They're explaining Go Fast as a effective parallax, so moving object, moving camera, and it can falsely look like you have something going at a high rate of speed when it's really just something that's moving in front of the camera, and the forced perspective makes it look like it's going very fast. I don't know. The Go Fast video for me has never been a showstopper because it doesn't show really any of the observables. It's a single dot that's moving against the ocean. Could be a balloon, who knows what it is, but even with if Go Fast is explained with prosaic sources, there's so many others that are still completely unexplainable. Gimbal being one of those. That one definitely shows observables in terms of acceleration, atypical motion, and then the video that we're going to hopefully be able to show a bit of today shows I don't even know what it shows. So it shows something.
No, I agree about the gimbal one, or the Go Fast one. The gimbal one was still. I don't think they debunked that one at all. To be honest with you, yeah, the Go Fast. Honestly, I never thought it really looked like it was going very fast at any point. There's not a lot of ability to really differentiate how fast it's going, because you have no clue how fast the camera is going, whether it's a stationary camera, whether it's a helicopter, whether it's an F-18 doing, Mach 0.2, or, I mean, how fast is the camera going? Too many factors that you just don't know. So it's just never really. I found it interesting just because it looked like a wingless craft moving across, and you can't see any propellers or anything like that, but it's not close enough detail like the Nimitz encounter with the flare, where they got the nice close-up of it where you don't see anything, which is the most amazing part about that, is you don't see anything. There's no wings or anything.
Yeah.
But if it is a craft, just like in the I gotta take a little break, so sorry, folks. My little girl's a little under the weather tonight, so I gotta check in on her real quick because she's over here crying. So, yeah, heartstrings and love stuff. But here, why don't we start with the? Why don't you go ahead and start and stop that video for the for the first video of the Afghanistan video that's floating around.
Sure thing.
And then I'll be right back.
Alrighty. So this is a video that I'm going to remove you from the stage, Gary. This is a video that came out, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday on X is where I saw it. And it's from 2011 and purportedly from Afghanistan. So it begins, looks like a camera system. It's not handheld, obviously, because of how it's moving. So it could be on a vehicle. It could be a perimeter fence. That motion there was just finding focus. So that's why the orbs kind of look like they got bigger. This is infrared with black hot. Now you can see these orbs, 4 of them, seemingly locked in position. And I did a little test where I kind of marked them and then tracked them. Their position relative to each other is locked, and they're slowly moving down. Now, those look like missile hits. So those could have been either vehicle launched, like from a helicopter or from an unmanned system, or even an anti-tank weapon launched from a shoulder fired tube. So those weapons had absolutely no effect on the orbs, other than the fact that the weapons did detonate when they hit the orb. So those weapons could have physically hit the object, or they could have been armed, and then because they detected metal or detected something, they exploded when they were in proximity. I'm not sure what the weapon system employed was, but it definitely, there was something there to trigger the explosions. But as you can see, those orbs it had absolutely no effect. And obviously these orbs seem to be dripping something. So the most conventional explanation would be flares, which I find incredibly hard to believe that flares would maintain a locked position in the sky relative to each other and would show no effect when an ordnance was fired at them. If an ordnance hit a flare that was descending under a parachute, it would be destroyed, and it would definitely, even if it was missed, it would move because of the disturbances of the air. So this is an interesting part in the video where the orbs seem to line. However, it looks like that orb may have just kind of disintegrated before it descended below the ridge line. So then you'll see the camera operator is looking around, possibly trying to reacquire the target. You'll see that there is a ground target, a moving ground target that's hot right there on the screen. And that could be a ground vehicle, that could be a helicopter. And then this looks like an orb, but when he goes back up, you'll see it's actually a winged aircraft. So that could be an A-10 Warthog, it could be a drone.
Yeah, the black dot you're seeing there is it's jet. It's engines.
Yeah, because this is again all in thermal. So if it could have been a drone with missiles, and the drone could have fired those missiles at the orb, we don't know.
Either way, some type of projectile hits them, and they appear to take zero damage. But like I said, in thermal, like you just saw with the A-10, it looked like just an orb until it moved up, and you could see it fly straight up. But with the orbs you see that are just sitting stationary, though, they're in just a very fixed position and they're not moving at all. And that's what's just really odd. So even if they were like a helicopter, you would still see them kind of moving around a little bit, where they wouldn't just stay in one solid fixed position. At least whenever I've seen helicopters, they never stayed like that. But at least that steady and for that long.
Yeah, that's what I find so anomalous. First of all, their motion, just the fact that they look like they're literally pinned to reality, and they are descending, but their motion is not like any flying object that I know of. Even drones, even like a quadricopter drone, will lock its position, but it's not going to hold it that well. There's air currents, there's some relative motion. I have never seen anything flying that seems to hold steady in such a way. Kind of an uncanny look. So then here is there's more. The orbs show up again. This, I did notice that it does look like in some of these instances there is something above the drone or the orb, a bit of another dark spot, which could be ghosting. That's an optical effect. When you've got like a lens stack, you can get ghost images. That's what I'm talking about. In here, you can see kind of like a dark object above them. So that might be an effect, an optical effect. But the dripping is definitely there. And when you go over the video, you can see that when the orbs move in the slightest to the left and the right, you'll see the trail of whatever is dripping from them is also affected by momentum. So Gary, do you have any ideas? I am pretty
Not
much.
a clue. It's if I could see it in visible light, it might I might be able to have more of an idea. But you know, as soon as they go into thermal and then the visible light spectrum, it's obviously nighttime, so it's hard to tell because I mean at night they just look like flares, to be dead honest with you. But they
Yeah.
obviously they don't drop like a flare, and they're not. They usually have like a big smoke pattern, and then when you
Yeah.
look at them in thermal, you can see because the smoke's still hot. You see the smoke coming off of them and stuff, and they're obviously going in a specific trajectory when they're flare. So yeah, it's a very odd sighting. If it wasn't what seems to be some type of targeting camera or some type of you know, I it looks like some type of military installation taking this, or because it doesn't look like there's not many high security cameras that far out in the desert that take pictures of A-10s and you know can shoot at things. So
Yeah.
we're
This looks very, very much like a military optical system.
yeah.
Definitely military grade with its zoom level
Well,
and
it's yeah.
fast
That's
focus. This is a good optical system that was employed for this
well,
capture.
this is a high end FLIR system because I mean look at the distance that it's or the resolution of the actual picture itself. Because you don't really have a range on FLIR, but you have resolution. Whether it's midwave, long wave, or short wave, you'll be able to see better detail at long distance depending on those factors. Plus, if it's liquid cooled, air cooled, and then of course, just these are crazy expensive high end FLIR taking this video. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you were to try and get something like this on the civilian market, you're talking probably 100,000, 60,000 to 100,000. So that's the full video. And I mean, I would call that anomalous, about as anomalous as they come. And the missile hit, that's somewhat instantaneous acceleration because it didn't move and it was hit by a real significant impulse. So no idea, but I would give this one a big thumbs up in terms of potentially representing something truly anomalous.
yeah, I definitely say it's worth interest. I'd love to see the chain of custody on this. Find it says it's supposed to be in Afghanistan or something like that in 2011, I believe. And interesting enough, though, seeing that feature on the FLIR reminded me of something I had seen on X a little while ago. Because at this point, I think X is the only social media I really frequent at this point. But it did lead me to find a YouTube video that actually has a compilation of like a bunch of UAP sightings where it has like dripping molten stuff coming off of the UAPs. And I didn't realize how many of them recently there have been. So, we're looking at either like some type of new secret drone tech that we're seeing, because I mean, none of them are going fast. None of them are like dipping out in a half a second or anything like that. They just kind of go off or they just disappear completely, like they turn off their lights or something. But you don't see anything dramatic in the movements, but it's just weird to see something fixed in the sky dripping something molten.
Yes.
So let me I think I got that video queued up too. I know we're doing a lot of videos tonight, but just seeing all this stuff tied in, and I can actually skip through this one. So this one will be a little bit faster. Let's see.
While you're doing that, speaking of Investigation Alien, George Knapp's new documentary on Netflix, they actually analyzed some molten metal that was from a reported UAP. Inconclusively, but it is an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, so I muted this because unfortunately there's like a lot of swearing, and you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
All right, so there's a lot of swearing in a lot of these. All the foreign ones, there's no swearing. They're just like, "Oh my god," or they're just like, "Oh, what is that?" And but in all the American ones, it's like they're just cursing crazy. So this is a 12-minute long video, but we're gonna go ahead and I'll wait for for it to start dripping. But let's see, oh, it starts dripping here, but this one starts to drip. And then we got another one here. Starts to drip there, and then I think it drips some more. I'm not sure. But these are all UAPs, that were sighted that were, dripping some type of molten material or something. So it was just very odd all the way across the board. It's dripping some more. I'm just going through these real quick. Oh, right about right here. And then it's going to flip to the next one. Yet another one. This one over the coast. And here comes another one. Yeah, these are all different people filming. Maybe some of them might be even the same UAPs. I didn't look into that, but from different angles. So you get to see the different things, like but either way, I just found it really odd that there were so many of these lately. And some of them don't look exactly the same. Like I have a feeling like this might be something different, but that's still, it's obviously either the moon or the sun or something. I don't know. It's weird. And then another point of light, and then shit just dripping out of it.
Yeah, and there have been a lot of historic UFO cases that described melting or dripping.
Well, isn't that where Art Sparks came from?
Which one is that?
The Art Sparks. The zinc. Forgot what it is. It was like I think a bismuth zinc layered, like molten material that had been recovered from somewhere. I think it was up in.
Okay.
I think it was the one in Jersey, wasn't it?
I don't know of that one off the top of my head.
If you know in the audience here, and you can correct me, and anything you can correct me on, make sure you throw it in there and tell me I'm an idiot. I don't mind being corrected because I'm just going off of very general terms of things that I read whenever. So, but we definitely seems to be a lot of stuff like that, especially recently, because like all those that compilation video that's all recent stuff. That's not old. That's all recent stuff.
Yeah,
like this one.
Have you heard the term mill orb?
Mill orb. I can gather what it means, but no, I've not really heard it.
Okay, it's a term that has been thrown around a lot, and the claim is that things like that orbs are actually ours, and that we cracked anti-gravity in the 60s, 50s, or 60s, and those mill orbs are an anti-gravity, purely human device that is used for, I believe, like reconnaissance and weapons delivery. So there's lots of banter on X about it, and it goes back to like 4chan stories and all that. And then it also ties in that MH3 or purported MH370 video where the three orbs start circling the airliner and then it disappears, which is also a very, very interesting series of videos that some claim have been debunked. The debunk that I saw was not in any way convincing. They're having babies.
Hey, welcome to the show, Enzo. And of course, if there's any of my other regular friends or any of my people that I visit their shows over the last billion years, and you happen to pop in, make sure you say hey. And I'm guessing like most of I think looks like we got 61 people with the two platforms right now. That's not too bad. 54 on X. That's pretty amazing.
EAX.
Good. I'm glad people are actually interested. You came for the freedom.
Yes.
Outstanding. Yeah, we're not monetized, so we don't really worry about whether we're going to get demonetized or not. Yeah, love it. Love it. Yeah, you got to get Trudeau out of office, and then you can have some freedom. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Trudeau, but
Me neither.
but I'm also not a fan of, it's like, just not for nothing. I don't like anybody that's spews hatred to anybody. So, but that's one of the perfect rights in the United States is that you have the right to be an asshole. You have the right to hurt people's feelings. Not that you should, but you have the right of it.
Mm-hmm. Because who decides what's being an asshole? And that's it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no one should be an asshole. Like freedom of speech should be very clean and everyone should treat each other well. But the only way you know that you have freedom is when people push those boundaries. So, yep, necessary evil. And I don't want to.
Depending on the angle that you were watching them, Enzo, the flares themselves they would actually be moving. No matter what, they're constantly moving, even if it's slow. And then it's more of so it's not like dripping from phosphorus. It's more like popping out. So you don't really get a drip effect like that, but I can see what you're talking about though.
Yeah. If someone wants to do a little somewhat dangerous experiment that you can kind of replicate that, light a piece of plastic on fire and just let it burn. And what you'll see is it will burn and it'll drip molten plastic that will continue burning. And it looks somewhat like that. But I mean, a flare, that would be what I would say too. But then how do you explain it getting hit by ordnance and having
Not
absolutely no
moving.
effect?
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything that you could hit with any sort of missile and it wouldn't even move.
Well, I mean, even if it was like something soft, like a hypersonic seagull, it still would make it move a little bit if it hit it.
Yes.
So even if it was a creature smashing across that thing, but it didn't. It looked like some type of object that was shot at it. That's really what it looked like. And it's the oddest thing because I mean it's just like you see the big explosion and then it's just like it's the same, but you obviously can't see if there's any damage on thermal, but it's obviously not moving. It stays fixed in the exact same position it was before the hit, and so that was piques my interest of want to know more about the video that we'll never know because it'll be overclassified by the government, which segues us back into the government conversation and where we were going to go with the UAP hearing, the first one, not the one for ATIP. Honestly, ATIP is just about as fun as just the tip. It's just all it is to me is Blue Book 2.0, another gatekeeper, another people dictating the terms so that when your FOIAs go through, they get kicked back out. It's just another control factor to me. So until they do something positive and release some real information, I got nothing for them. I don't even care. I've talked to a couple of scientists doing some work in this field, and I don't know. And I made the point, hey, why don't you contact ATIP? Like, really? No. So even the actual people that are smart don't even want to deal with them, because they're like, yeah, what happens when they get a hold of it? Then it's like, okay, we can't talk about it anymore. Screw that.
Well,
so.
One big thing out of that first hearing that I thought was pretty interesting was when Admiral Gallaudet talked about going to, I think it's Arrow now, but he went to talk to them and he said he faced basically a misinformation propaganda session where they were like, were kind of grilling him and say, oh, that's not really what you saw, and then went on to debunk the classic cases like, oh, well, gimbal, and that was actually a hypersonic seagull. So it seems like AAR, Arrow, ATIP, all these things have been, like you said, blue book.
Now, to be fair, that was also with the liar big fat liar pants in charge. But to be fair with Admiral, he basically showed their playlist. He did the same thing when we had our meeting, when the UAPX had their meeting. So when we had our meeting with Arrow, Kirkpatrick was there, his whole team was there, and they asked us a bunch of questions. We filled them in. They Kevin and Matthew filled them in on publications and all this information where they could start in the civilian sector to start getting this stuff, the ball rolling with UAP research. And then literally like 2 months later, Kirkpatrick goes in front of Congress and says, I know of nothing. I know no publications. I know nothing going on. I'm completely ignorant of anything in the UAP world, and this is all hoopla. And it's like, wow, I really don't want to call you out on this, and I don't really want to make that kind of wave, but you're a liar. And just like with Tim, they started asking crap loads of questions. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do that? And some of the stuff they did was, to be fair, yeah, we didn't think of some things, and it's like, oh, it was good input, but it more sounded like when you go to like it honestly made me feel like when I went to the Social Security office with my mom. My mom's unfortunately having to file for survivor for widows benefits, and it's like we had a 30-minute conversation where they just asked her a bunch of questions where they're trying to disqualify her for her benefits. They weren't trying to help her try to get her benefits. They were just asking her every question that would disqualify her for it. And, instead of trying to move this forward and get it done, they were just trying to do everything in their power to disqualify her and kick her out so that the next person in line can come up. And it just like, it's like the game plan. It's like, that's why, personally, I hope Elon and all those people can really clear out all this bureaucracy, that's this layered bureaucracy and all these different government entities that just completely tool everything down. So, but let's see. Yeah, places of earthquakes, they got different things like earthquake lights, it's the piezoelectric effect for with earthquake lights. And then of course, big earthquakes definitely have a UAP sightings on the regular. But it's like I was going to put up a poll on the YouTube thing, but for some reason it wouldn't let me do it. And I was going to say, do you believe that there's going to be catastrophic disclosure with the U.S. government? And I was just like, it goes, yeah, of course we know about swamp gas. And then the next choice was going to be, what's the UAP? Oh, look, another war. Yeah. So I was just going to be like, yeah, it's all garbage. But and Contraband Joe, you're absolutely right. These drip things do kind of look like thermite. If you ever just set thermite on fire and watch it drip through things, it does have the kind of thermite-y look to it. But back to the hearings. So I was very impressed by the young man behind me that's got 2 strikes now for being an idiot. Yep. Go back in the room. Thank you. Sorry. They had very specific instructions, and believe me, they're all spoiled rotten. But they think this is a joke. That's the funny part. Wait. But the head, what was the woman's name that was running the hearing? I'm brain farting on it.
Mace.
Yeah, Mace, Representative Mace.
Yes.
Well, she did a very good job. Her questions were on point. That should have been, honestly, this hearing should have been the very first hearing that happened years ago. And then they should have been building on this. And I love to see Lou up there. I love to see Tim up there. I didn't know the reporter, but he brought some stuff to the table. So I still haven't gone through that whole that program, that Immaculate Conception or program. I haven't gone through the whole document yet. Have you read it yet, Ben?
Cover to cover, I've got it. I printed it out.
Look at this guy!
So
Look at this guy, all prepared. Like you don't have kids running around your house. Cheers.
No kids, just one cat.
Give me the crib notes.
Okay, well, so this is, I'll just read you what the intro is. This was released by Michael Schellenberger. So this is the article that he cites when he announced or disclosed Immaculate Constellation. So this is our first, or the hearing, when this was submitted into records at the hearing, this was our first look at this report. So the introduction says, this document is the result of multi-year internal investigation into the subjects of unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, technologies of unknown origin, TUO, and non-human intelligence, NHI. This investigation was undertaken in response to urgent and credible threats to the public good and safety of the United States of America, and provided to Congress through the UAP whistleblower mechanisms established by the fiscal year 23 National Defense Authorization Act, yada, yada, yada. So this is a report. It goes on to say that the Immaculate Constellation is an unacknowledged SAP that was established following Elizondo's disclosure of ATIP and OSAP, if I pronounce that properly. It goes through, it has a lot of reporting on actual incidents that talk about like our sensor systems. So I've got, I mean, this one is probably one of the more spectacular, which I can just read quickly. This is Indo-PACOM. So that's, what area of the world is that? Indonesia, Pacific? I'm not exactly sure. But this is, the title is Indo-PACOM, Large Disk Using Clouds as Concealment. On USG networks, there exists OPIR footage of a large saucer-shaped UAP emerging from within a dense cloud formation. The saucer.
This is the one he referred to as the pancake, right?
I'm not sure. Well,
I think when she asked those follow-up questions, he said the only thing you could talk about is that they called it the pancake.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, but I think I at least remember that much of the.
Yeah, well, there's like 12 reports here. So let's see. This one, this is the large saucer-shaped UAP emerging from within a dense cloud formation. The saucer registered black hot against white cold, with atmospheric disturbances caused by the saucer-shaped UAP visible. The saucer was between 200 and 400 meters in circumference and displayed symmetrical concavities on the upper surface. The saucer-shaped UAP emerges at a shallow angle traveling upwards towards the outer atmosphere. After breaking above the cloud cover, then accelerating, after breaking above the cloud cover, the saucer-shaped UAP suddenly reverses its direction, descending partially, accelerating rapidly out of frame and partially obscured by the cloud tops. This behavior was evasive in nature and implied that the saucer-shaped UAP had become aware that it was under observation by a space-based collection platform. So there are certain things you will almost never hear about, and those are our space-based collection devices. Those are classified about as high as you can get. So that's why a report like this would be classified. Really anything that deals with our spy satellites is just classified up to the highest level.
Capabilities, origin, everything.
Yep. So that's one. This also explicitly says Immaculate Constellation's primary mission is collecting imagery intelligence on unidentified aerial phenomena and ARV/RV reproduction vehicles, utilizing tasked and untasked U.S. military intelligence resources. So tasked, that means those resources are specifically geared to finding this certain target or observing a certain type of target. Untasked means they're assets that can be can be requested by different entities that want to get some time on a certain bird, look at a certain area of interest. And this, I think it's 12 pages long or so. It is now Nancy Mace, Representative Mace, is hosting it on her website. You can find it on X. Michael Schellenberger has shared it. I would advise everyone to read this because for me, it was like a kid in a candy store. The details that they go into. And again, it's just a piece of paper. It's just some words that we have to trust me, bro, on. But the chain of custody is solid, and everything it talks about, anyone involved in the subject, it will be familiar, but just with a little more detail. So that's, to me, coming out of the that first hearing, that really the thing of value that came out of that hearing was this paper. And it talks about triangles, and it also implies that triangles are reproduction vehicles. So, the rumor, the TR3B thing, which I will say I've never believed in any way. Maybe I was wrong. So there's ones where it talks about. Let's see. I'll find the one on the triangle. Okay. On USG networks, there exists infrared footage of an imagery of a grouping of vessels engaged in SIGINT, that's signals intelligence, and MASSINT collection at night. MASSINT, I don't recall that one right now. Sorry. Someone could pipe in the chat. SIGINT and MASSINT in collection at night in a specific area of the Pacific Ocean. In this footage, which was in close proximity to the vessels, a large equilateral triangle UAP suddenly appears directly over the ships. 3 bright points are seen at each bottom corner of the UAP, which is observed to slowly rotate on its horizontal axis. This rotation partially reveals a horizontal bar of sweeping lights. Intelligence analysis associated with this event specifies that the equilateral triangle is a reproduction vehicle and concludes that the vessels must have been aware of the RV's frequent use of those coordinates due to foreign prepositioning of advanced collection assets at the exact time and place. After a brief period of hovering and slowly rotating approximately 500 to 1,000 meters above the ocean, the RV suddenly disappears and the footage ends. So that's one of the triangles. There's another one, Indo-PACOM equilateral triangle UAP tails unwitting vessel. On USG networks, there exists infrared footage of an equilateral triangle UAP, approximately fighter jet sized, hovering less than 200 meters above a vessel in the night at a location in the Pacific. Intelligence analysis associated with this event specifies that the equilateral triangle is an ARV-RV of unknown origin. The vessel gives no signs that it is aware of the ARV/RV maintaining altitude and bearing directly overhead. 2 lights on the underside of the ARV-RV are visible, while a third is blocked from view due to a slightly upward angle of orientation. So there we go. Triangles being referred to as ARVs. They never spell out ARV, the acronym. They spell out RV as reproduction vehicle. So we're left guessing what's the A in ARV, which, I mean, in the lore, it's alien reproduction vehicle, ARV-TR3B, which, again, I didn't think was true. But this paper seems to imply that we have vehicles using exotic technology on the planet that are being tracked and it sounds like intercepted. So could that support that we have super terrestrial humans who have gained capabilities, or just have found technology and are using it, and our government is trying to prevent that. It's kind of a flabbergasting and exciting read, and I would encourage everyone to go and read through it in detail. I'm just trying to think. There's one on a boomerang device. So that sounds again like the Phoenix Lights story. And so yeah, Gary, I was just kind of reading a few of these stories because it still gets me excited to read through this stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait till I can get into it. And I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I have to, from time to time, we'll probably go over a little bit tonight, anyways. But I had to go. I've got my daughter's under the weather, and I'm babysitting two of my nephews, and basically, I got a mother-in-law that's sick with cancer, and my wife and her sister are off helping taking care of her at Moffitt Cancer Center, and so I'm rolling solo with the kids tonight. So I unfortunately, part of that is if something happens, I got to get up and go handle it. But Ben is a very knowledgeable fellow, and I rely on him for a lot of the details and things because he's got a much better memory than I do. So you're in good hands when I have to get up. But yeah, so that has multiple things going on in it.
Yeah,
so there's multiple accounts in it.
Yeah, I think there are, let's see. I think there's 11 or 12 actual reports, and then it gets into common UAP UFO shapes observed in the defense human data set. So human intelligence. It says from 91 to 2022, most common UAP shapes reported in this USG data set were spheres, orbs, discs, saucers, ovals, tic tacs, triangles, boomerang, arrowhead, and irregular organic. The triangles, boomerangs, arrowhead shapes were by far the rarest, and spheres the most common. Then it gets into it gives a lot of details on spheres, discs, ovals, or tic tacs. A little more than we've seen in the unclassified hearings. And then they talk about they give all the different characteristics of the different shapes: size, speed, signatures, colors, surface details, behaviors, atmospheric phenomena, and biological effects. So this, like Enzo said, all of this stuff is not too surprising for long time UFO nerds, but seeing it all in one place with a lot of detail and with a chain of custody that says this most likely did come from an internal government report. This could be another drip in the disclosure.
Cool. What I'm kind of hoping is that this is the program that keeps, like, when if you read wow, don't ever hurt your brain, because then you have a hard time remembering specific names and things like that. Lou's book, if you read Lou Elizondo's book, they talk about the program and the deep state, or these things like that. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions that I run into a lot is that when somebody says deep state, that's not a person or even one program. That is a series of different programs through different organizations, all unlisted, all with funding that comes from an very unclear source. Some people have speculated that it's drug smuggling money from CIA. It's misappropriated funds from the Pentagon, which should actually pose I was thinking about this the other day. I was reading that whole the Elon Musk and the new government agency that's going to go through all of the other ones. And I'm like, what happens when they get to the Pentagon and they have all these budgets that just are ridiculous, and they just start cutting and cutting and cutting, and then all of a sudden all these black sites are not funded anymore. I have a feeling that they got to turn somewhere for that kind of money, because they're spending billions on this type of stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that they have to turn to the private sector when the swamp gets drained. If it does, I doubt it will. Honestly, uh, I was happy with the results of the polls, but in the same respect, once you get past a certain point, it doesn't really even matter. It's all the same handlers. The Doge, the government Department of Government Efficiency. Thank you, Enzo.
Love it when our government is now meme driven.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I had a dad call out. Give me a minute.
So the idea of how these programs get their funding, if you hypothetically had access to exotic technology, you would be able to do just about anything you wanted with what these vehicles seem to display. So near instantaneous transportation, penetration into any area in the globe that is being denied. So these things obviously if they can get to our nuclear sites and they can shadow our nuclear carriers. If someone had one of these things and they wanted to get into the Kremlin, or they wanted to get into North Korea, or they wanted, to get into any of the hardest, most defended places on the planet, they would have no problem doing so. So I would think they would also be able to do many sorts of things like Gary mentioned, drug smuggling, which we know the CIA did. That's been revealed with the Iran-Contra affair, and
they did do it directly just to fund their own black projects, whether it was toppling governments or murking government heads. Not necessarily just for UAP or reverse engineering and stuff like that. They use that money to basically run most of their black operations, and prove me wrong at that point.
Yep. Yeah, and then the Michael Herrera story, where he claimed to have seen a triangle that was being loaded with crates by operators. So all that kind of follows. It's kind of a horrifying prospect that we have basically criminals running criminal enterprises enabled by exotic technology. So I think hopefully Elon Musk can get his hands on it and maybe become the real Iron Man, and we can have some good people with exotic technology to counter if any bad people have it.
Honestly, I don't want him to be the new Iron Man. I want him to keep doing what he's doing. He's working on getting us off this world. If I want Elon to create like literally a foundation on Mars that will preserve the knowledge of humanity for the future, should anything happen to the home world.
Yeah.
Well, if you've never read that series, all this stuff going on right now kind of prompted me to reread the series, just because of the nature of the book series. Plus, there was new books that weren't out when I originally read it. I'm dating myself, but
great series.
Yeah, if there really is somebody using that ridiculously level of technology on our planet, and they are human based, they are actually running things. They're not. Whoever has that technology is running things, whether it's behind the screen or they're just not acknowledging us. For all we're just an invasive species on this planet that's just destroying it, and they're just not happy with it and figure we'll just kill ourselves eventually. Which is more likely than us becoming an interplanetary species, unfortunately. I mean, hell, the chances of us actually of life even developing to the point where we're at right now we're so slim to begin with. People don't realize how much of a blessing it is just to be an intelligent, somewhat intelligent species on a planet in this, in the galaxy. So, that's it's an amazing thing when you sit down and look at the math of the probability of life developing on this planet. It is crazy. So if there is some type of, whoever's running all these things is, I mean, that's the only thing I do know for certain. I don't know whether there's aliens. I don't know whether there's, you know, ultra terrarians. I don't know whether there's blue avians. I don't know whether there's any of this shit. I've never seen them. I've never talked to them. I've never had a successful CE5. I've had some weird things happen in my life that I can't explain, but nothing that can tell me of any of these people that claim they know everything. But I do know that there is a massively more advanced technology running parallel with us on this planet. And I witnessed it in 2004, and I've been trying, and I'm chasing it ever since. And whoever runs that tech either runs this world or did at one time. Because we could, like I've said, I beat this horse with a dead, I beat this dead horse with every stick I have. Is that I really believe that the Tic Tac shape and the small silvery orbs, the ones that look metallic, that look similar to the Tic Tacs, like in material wise, I in my heart and soul really feel like those are AI driven, and that they just have specific purposes. They do their purpose and then they go about their day unless they're interfered with. If we intercept them, then they react, but other than that, they just ignore us and just do whatever they're doing. And that's what I found very odd, even about our intercept of these things. I mean, it wasn't like they were antagonizing us. We were antagonizing them, so, and they were just matching us maneuver for maneuver. I mean, you heard Fravor's testimony, and then they just zip around. They weren't really aggressive or anything like that. They just like they had a job to do, and we were getting in their way. That's really how it felt. So,
what about them showing up at the cap point? To me, that felt like communication. Like when Fravor turned, when he cut the circle, cutting the circle, you got two aircraft, you're circling each other, and to fight in an airplane, you need to get behind the other guy. So you're circling and you cut through the circle to try and intercept them. So he did that to the Tic Tac, and that was when it came up in his windscreen and then just vanished and showed up at that, like, instantaneously at the cap point. So to me, that says, you try and engage me, I'll show you how many moves ahead I know about you. This is your home base and no one knows about it, and I'm going to go there. So it's almost, it almost feels like communication to me.
I got to unmute myself. Hey, PJ, thanks for popping in, bud. Like PJ just said, all that stuff does get transmitted over data links. And I mean, if this is an advanced AI, I mean, who knows what kind of technology they have? They could have just hacked our systems and started, or just received those data links with no issues. I mean, our encryption, if they are as advanced as I think they are, our encryption would probably be a joke to them. I mean, we're over here all like, yeah, ooh, and they're using quantum encryption. I mean, who knows, right? But
as long as they don't break Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm my daughter's in not a happy place right now, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and bid farewell for the evening. I appreciate it. Do you have the ability to end the stream when you're ready?
No, we can call it. It's been an hour, so I think we're good.
Yeah. I appreciate everybody coming out. It's just been a very challenging evening for myself. But we really wanted to get an episode out tonight and really kind of sit down. We really enjoy interacting with you guys and really kind of hopping up here and having these conversations. So, we'll definitely have a part 2 to this one, because there's a lot of stones unturned, and it's been my mindset. I'm worried about my daughter. I'm not really worried about this right now. So, God bless everybody. And Ben, thank you for showing up. Thank you, PJ, for popping in. Thank you, Enzo. Rui, thanks. And Tim. Oh, I didn't even see you pop in there. I know I saw you, but I forgot to say, what's up, Tim? Tim F. He's a regular. So I appreciate it. And Contraband Joe, everybody that's popped in, thank you, and make sure you like and subscribe, and whatever you do on X to make it known that you liked our show. It just makes it easier for other people to find us. I don't really care about the whole monetization or anything like that. I just want to grow as a platform. So take it easy, everybody. God bless, and deuces. We're out for the night. You got anything else to say, Ben?
No, I hope your daughter does well. Good night, and thank you all for joining us.
All right. Take it easy, everybody.